All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is October 1st, 2018. This is a Monday night webinar, and the title of tonight's webinar is Kiss Trades and Drawing Lines. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems, should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? If not, we are going to get started. By the way, let me show you a quick little chart that I drew up. I think I may even get this posted somehow on the website because I want everybody to see how good these phantom type trades can be. You know, everybody knows that we look for the trend. You know, this had to have changed from either ratcheting or it had to change from one extreme to the other, which it did. There's your phantom trade. Look at that beautiful trade. And then look at that beautiful trade long. I mean, those are typical examples of waiting for a phantom trade to set up. Line 7 is preferable. If you can get all the way up to line 7 for a short, that's more powerful than line 6. Okay, and if you can get to line 1, that's more powerful than line 2. Okay, and hopefully sometime soon anyway, we're going to try to have that trader ready that you'll be able to pick the line you want it to trade off of, and you'll be able to tell it how many ticks you want to trade off that line. So in other words, if you did want to trade like 2 ticks off of line 1 with a stop at line 0, you're going to be able to do that. Okay, and I'm hoping sometime soon. It's being worked on. All right, but I just thought I'd show that real quick before we get started because those are some of my absolute favorite trades anymore. I just love them. Matter of fact, I think if you had actually watched oil even a little while ago, I was watching it live, but it hadn't been moving enough to trade it, but it hit a perfect phantom again. Everybody should have seen that too, but you don't have to trade all times of the day either. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to show again first is basically what you want to do is you want to understand that you're going to be wanting to look at these Lightning 3 and Lightning 4. Lightning 4 not so much as the Lightning 3, but always Lightning 3 is going to be on the Lightning 4 to begin with. See the Lightning 4, see the double numbers? That just means that Lightning 3 and 4 were on that dot. Okay, that's a price right there. Okay, so it is important that you see that because to give an example, what I see right now on this chart, and I don't even have the regular chart in front of me, but if I was going to be trading this, I'd want this to break up above 54 and kiss if I was going to go long, and I'd want it to break below 32 at this moment anyway, if I was going to go short, and I'd hope that it would at least break it, kiss it, and then roll. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight quite a bit is, you know, how you can take those kiss trades. Now, you don't have to have, for instance, a thrust way down here and then come back and kiss. That's not what we're talking about, you know, because obviously that more than likely be bouncing off some kind of support. What I'm talking about on a kiss trade is just breaking, you know, maybe there's not a set amount of ticks as far as that goes, but breaking and then picking that area as resistance in the case of a short and vice versa on a long. That's kind of what you're looking for. And then the rollover, okay? And then the same thing on this one up here. You know, you're not necessarily looking for, you know, a total break above here, like way up and then come back and kiss. You're just really looking for a break. They'll try to decide if resistance is going to hold. If resistance holds as support, then they'll take it on up. Okay, that's what we're really talking about on kiss trades. Okay, now also let me go ahead and take these lines off and I'll show you. You have to know where prices are, obviously, though. So right now at this very moment, our price is right there. Okay, so we know we have a high, a low, and a higher high, higher low, but not a higher high. We do know that resistance is right up here. We just drew it a second ago. Okay, and we also know where support is, right? And then we look at our regular chart and we see, what's the preponderance of where this is going? Well, right now it's looking a little bit more short. Okay, because see the color of the power meters and everything. But if you're going to trade this, especially, well, just to give you an example, I hear a lot of talk about, mid-band trades, and I like mid-band trades too, but you got to be careful on them, because I'm here to tell you, just like this morning, you got whacked, well, at least once, maybe even twice on YM, depends on how you drew your box, and then you got a quick short, and then it popped right up through the box and went long and just kept on trucking. And, some people, that's not going to be acceptable because, obviously you're going to get in a little loss of a trade, and then you're probably going to miss it going the other direction. And then all of a sudden it'll pop up and, go the direction it planned on going to begin with. Oh, you were watching the news and I almost forgot, Raymond. It's recorded, so you'll get to see it, and I'll get it posted on the webinar link too. So everybody see what I'm talking about there, though? Because this is pretty important stuff in my personal opinion, because the way I got that trade called this morning on that oil right where I did is because I watch all 4 trends, okay? It's super important to watch all the trends, because you're going to get KISS trades on the larger trend, the medium trend, and then the 2 minor trends. Okay, that's these trends right here. In other words, what if oil was to go up here and then do a little zigzag and start breaking down? Maybe it got a little lower high and then breaks, and a predictor's here or something. Could you actually short this if it actually started stair-stepping back down? And the answer is yes. Okay, but keep in mind that when something like that happens, you're just simply shorting resistance if you get it to where it kind of lets you know that you got a lower high. Okay, now what if it decides to break here instead? Well, we already talked about that one just a minute ago. But let's see what the chart actually looks like. Okay, and here's CL and YM. Let's just go with CL for right now. All right, so everybody sees you've got resistance right up here. That was a real chart just a minute ago. And I'm going to change this back to our navy blue so it'll show on these charts. Midnight blue's fine. All right, and then you could also draw a line and say, okay, well, if you take a short here, you've got support here, right? If you take a long here, you've got resistance up here. So this would be a better trade, obviously, up here than this one would be here short, because you've got support right here, but you've got resistance way up here. Okay? So, if you're going to do a little breakout trade, the better one on this particular chart right now is to the upside. Everybody see that? Now, if it breaks here, then obviously, oh, bear with me a second. This stinking screen froze. It's not paused. Let me stop it for just a second, and then it'll go back into it. I apologize for that. It does that occasionally. Go to webinar. Sorry about that. Let's go back over it again then. Let me just take this away. All right, notice that you have support here and you have resistance right across here, right? And of course you'd say, well, no, really your resistance is right here, right? Okay, so on a risk reward type, which way would you prefer to take this trade as it sits right now? Well, I've got support right down here, but I've got resistance up a little higher. So could I get a scalp possibly? And the answer would probably be yes, but you'd have to put your stop underneath the swing. Everybody see that? Okay. Now we're going to talk about KISS trades quite a bit tonight, and I'm going to talk about them even in all of the different modes, because you're going to get KISS trades on Lightning 1, Lightning 2, and mostly you know, on your really good trades are going to be even on Lightning 3. Okay. And, you know, for instance, if you were trading this overnight and you saw this right here and you said, okay, I've got support right here. All right, see this? This is what you'd see if you were like at 6 o'clock last night. So if it comes down and kisses this area right here, wouldn't you expect it to bounce a little bit? And it did. You know, so that's those kiss trades we talk about all the time. That's why we draw on these charts in the room, you know, is to get that kind of trade. And if you remember oil, this is not even the same pricing or anything, but isn't this the same thing that actually happened? You know, see how you have a medium swing and then it thrusts way up. You got a swing here, they barely break it, but they didn't break this secondary swing here. You know, that's the way we actually drew on that chart this morning when oil was at 73.37, and that was way into the morning. Okay, and that's the way you draw on the charts like that. All right, but let's just try something and see if we can get a little trade. Let's see so far. Even though this is all red, I see if they do break above here, we could try to get to 54. If they break here, I wouldn't take this short because I would want to at least break this. And then I've got a little bit better as far as getting all the way down to like here. You know, and that's still only about 5 or 6 ticks or so. So if I was to take this short, you know, I would more than likely go ahead and take this one if it broke and then put a really tight stop. But then if it did break here, I'd expect my money to come here. Okay. And if we go this one this way, we're going to expect it to break up and possibly kiss 54, 53. And more than likely, if this thing closed above mid-band, I would personally more than likely just go ahead and take it. You want to try it and see if it works? Let's just see. We've got mid-band. We've got a little higher set of lows, but we've also got high. You know, it's basically in a little bit of a triangle. So let's see if we can get something with Object Trader. And we've got it set on no more than 6, which you don't normally do 6 on the oil to begin with, but we're not going to do 6 anyway. We'll just leave it at that. And let's see if we can get something here. Let's see if we were to break mid-band at 42 and try to get to 50. Yeah, I could go for 10 ticks, couldn't I? So let's see if we can get something here. And what we'll do is we'll just simply go, if that bar closes up, it's going to be above mid-band, so we'll take a bar close. And let's see if we can get 10 ticks. Now, if it breaks down, we're not taking it, remember, until it actually breaks this support level. And the trend is still up for right now. Now, I'd probably actually, if I was trading this with my real money, I'd be looking at this bar right here. And if it does pop up above that line I've just got drawn, I would probably buy it. Okay. That's not that risky of a trade, by the way, because it just simply kissed support. Everybody see that on a power meter 1. Now, what if it does break down? Well, it's going to get me if it breaks down, but I've only got 1 in, so that's okay. All right. And then more than likely, if this does break above mid-band, I would go ahead and add 1. And of course, you could actually set up like sniper, to give an example, or even a region. Let's do a region. We'll do a region if we can get there quick enough. And we're not going to wait for the breakout. We're just going to wait for it to break mid-band. Something like that. Okay. And see, we're not risking very much on this trade at all, because all we're doing is we're actually taking a little bit of a kiss trade that it tried to kiss this little support area right here, and it is trying to bounce for us. Let's see if it does. If it doesn't, we're only going to risk 5 ticks on this particular trade, that is. Oh, this was at 6:30 last night. No wonder it's slow. I was watching live stream church last night at this time. Was not trading it. It's slow at this time. I apologize for that being at 6:30. I probably should have checked my market replay. Now, to see that one actually got us. Okay, let's go with, bounced off this other. Okay, so we got hit for 50 bucks. Okay, notice that it did bounce off of this one though. Okay, so I just misread which one it bounced off of. So I'm down 50 bucks. Okay, now I would have probably more than likely bought that again if I hadn't been moving so fast when it went back above that line. But let's take a breakout and see if we can get it back. Let's see. Oh, okay. Ed, on your question, what we're talking about here, and there are people that were invited this week. You'll get a lot of it, but keep in mind that you could also go to our website under webinars, and that'll get you a lot of the terminology. For instance, this region trade we're talking about. You know, we're talking about actually KISS trades tonight. We're also talking about line type trades, you know, where we draw the lines on the charts. I drew a line successfully today at 63.37 on crude oil, and it hit perfectly where I wanted it to, and we got a great trade. Matter of fact, it even ran after the room closed. Okay, let's see if we can get up to 50. I usually like to fade a top by 2 ticks because a lot of times that's what the professional traders will do to begin with. So let's see if we can get our 50 bucks back. Okay. Now, during this webinar, by the way, Ed, on your question from earlier, I will go over quite a bit of how you can see to do these. We have a tool that we call Object Trader that I'm using right now. Now, Object Trader is designed so that you can actually take trades based on line touches, region box breaks, bar close. You know, to give an example, let's say if I wanted to do a bar close on this, I could just simply put it on bar close, long, and then I could go ahead and take a trade if that bar closes up if I want to. Now, keep in mind, I've already got 2, so I probably don't want to do that. But we've got the tools that can do that. Let's see if we get anything on this trade at all. Got to at least get our 70 bucks back. Let's see. Yeah, we're only 30 now. Everybody see the KISS trade, though, where it just kissed support? And if you look at this little chart here, you notice that what it did is it just barely touched the low right there, right? So, you know, then if you think about it, see how it's actually popping up. Now, this is a real chart. We're just simply showing how to see these KISS trades. And let's see, we're still down about 90. Let's see what we get. 50. There you go. Just got you $230. Says chart P&L is 130 minus. I'm not sure how it did that. Probably because I started market replay. Notice how that kissed 54. Now, if you're a gutsy trader and you like to trade ranges, you can actually short that. Where I got out of that, you can actually short that. Okay, because Predictor was telling you that it was actually going to hit its head there, and it certainly did. Okay, now I personally would rather buy a predictor, a green predictor, you know, and go for like a 10-tick trade or something like that, than to short a blue one. But you can if you see that you're, you know, hitting your head at resistance and everything. Okay, so now we talked about basically how to take this trade if it decides to go whichever way it decides to go, right? So we're looking for a break above 54 and a kiss, right? Or we're looking for a break, and let's look at our little micro and our medium type of swings. Let me get rid of these lines and I'll show you. All right, so let's see. We'll draw lightning on our chart. All right, we got a little swing right across here. Now this is micro. If it breaks that, you should break down if it breaks this and at least come down to possibly here or even here or lower, obviously. Okay. Now for a trader that's more conservative, you're going to actually want to break 30. Okay. simply because that's actually a support level on like Lightning 3. All right. Now let's see how this works out, whichever way we decide to do it. All right, we're going to simply, if this breaks below support, we're going to turn on Sniper, short it, touch +2, and we'll do 2 contracts. And let's see if our idea of what we're talking about tonight works out well, especially when you're in choppy sideways. Okay, now your power meter is green right now, which means that you're stair stepping up. Okay, even on the micro side. All right, but if we do break this line, we are breaking micro. Okay, so let's see if we can get something. And we're also going to do another sniper line on top if it decides to break 54. And we could simply turn it to long, touch plus, and turn it like that. That turns it green. So if it does break up, we'll go ahead and take a little breakout trade, because it obviously, if it breaks that, it would go up to at least here or possibly here, looking to the left to trade the right. If it breaks here, it's going to go either here, here, or even down here. Okay? So we'll draw a line down here. We'll draw a line here on our Lightning 3s. And let's see if we get something. Now I've got this set for Sniper being a touch plus. Okay, you can use close, but keep in mind if a bar closed right by our line, we won't get a trade, a good trade, because what'll happen is it'll close right above the line, and then it'll try to go below it and then close, and then you get filled way down in here. I personally like the touch feature even better on Object Trader, simply because you get some better trades like that. Okay. Now here in a few minutes, I'm going to show you another tool that we have that's called Time Trader. Okay, because Time Trader will make a world of difference in your monthly income. We've got people that use that all the time. Oil opens at 8 a.m. We like to trade it 1 minute before that. By trading it 1 minute before that, we get a little bit of a jump on the market, so to speak, because we get the direction that they're usually heading rather than that little fake they do at the open. Because they usually will do a little fake pop at the open. Maybe not even, a bar or so, but they will do a little pop. Okay, watch our power meter, see if we're going to get this trade. If it breaks Sniper, we'll be short. Hadn't broken it yet. Everybody see what I'm talking about here on Kiss Trades? You have micro, and you have your larger. And you have your secondary, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. This is actually your micro lightning right here. You're still in an uptrend right here on this side of the chart, right? Okay? But if we do break here, we're no longer in an uptrend. Okay? Let's see if we get something here. Touch +2, it should fire. That's 1. There you go. All right, see how this went red. Now I expect, by looking to the left to trade the right, I'd want to take some coin right here. Okay? Simply because if it breaks, then we should expect it to come to support, right? Okay, now if this is going to be a little fake, where would we put our stop? Anybody? Above lightning with exit on close. Okay, we might even fade it 1 tick just to make sure. Okay, because we're going high, low, lower, high, lower, low, so we don't expect that to be taken out if they're going to stay with our micro trend. Okay, let's speed this up and see if we get anything. So far. And here in a second, I want to show you the Time Trader, because we're getting close to that time, and I don't want to miss this. Matter of fact, we're getting there, so I'm going to pause this for just a second. Let's just go ahead and kill this. I want to show you a feature that we've got in Object Trader that I think you'll really like. A lot of our people use this. By the way, if you get rid of your lines and you leave Sniper on, be sure and get rid of the dots. you do that with the delete key. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put time trader on this chart. And what you've got to do, of course, is change this to not enabled. And we're going to go up to time trader and see time trader you would want to set for today's date, October 1st, 7:59. Okay, that's the time we start trading oil. And I usually like to have mine with a zone offset of 4, which is 8 ticks. So you can actually do your little channel as 4, which would be 8 ticks, and then it's ready to go. All you got to do at that point is just simply engage it and put it on time trader. See where it says time trade. And then we're going to do long or short. And usually at the open, you can actually do even a runner. Okay. And I'll show you what a lot of our people do with time trader. Let me just go ahead and start this back up. Now at 7:59, this will actually look for a closed bar and it will draw. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off for just a minute because I like for my box to draw before I actually take my trade. There's your little box right there, but not your time trader box yet. Let it go ahead and close a bar and you'll get a green box. And can everybody see that if you get a green box, you basically got resistance, resistance, and support? Okay, we need a bar to close before we get our green box. Haven't gotten it yet. Let's speed it up just a little bit. You'll see the green box appear. There you go. All right, there's your green box right there. Now what you need to do is just simply like this, and there you just got your trade. See how I just did that? I turned on my short and my long. It didn't get the long, it got the short. Okay, and this is what we call a time trade. And some of our people this morning were in this trade. And if you're going to set your time trader up, I'd highly recommend doing it, several minutes before you get in the room, to give an example, because it'll make a world of difference of you being able to actually get the trade. When trading ranges, can you use the reverse button? Absolutely, Bill. Yes. Yeah, we've got a reverse button on here. We even have a reverse on stop. Okay. I'll show you how that works if I can see something that I like to reverse. Well, for instance, if this was to take out this swing right across here, like so, I'd do an exit on close and a reverse. And see, that would actually reverse my trade if it decides to take out mid-band again and take out my resistance. And that's my secondary resistance right now. It's primary until this actually gets lower, and we're getting ready to get primary, secondary as we teach it. Okay, let's speed this up a little bit. By the way, in the room this morning, this little trade was called. It's a time trader type trade. We don't actually call them as per se to where a person just, if a person wants to trade it, they can, and if they don't want to, they don't have to. Okay. Now you'll notice that so far, you're down to our phantom, okay? Now, but keep in mind that what happened at the open so far is that we got a mid-band that tilted to the downside, okay? Now, what we did on this particular trade, by the way, this morning, and I'll show you how to trade this with exactly the way we teach it, because we use 4-range charts every single day of our lives. All right? Now, what I personally like to do, see a trend line right through there? Take your ray, draw your trend line. I usually back it off just a little bit. That way I'm not getting wicked out of a good trade, because you can get wicked out otherwise. Okay? But let's see if we can get a trend line that's even tighter than this one at all. But could you set this to reverse right here, Bill, on your question? Absolutely. That would be, for instance, if this was to bounce off a phantom and you wanted to actually take this trade long, if it did take this out, you would leave the exit on close reverse on. turned on, and it would take the trade to the reverse side, yes. Absolutely a pretty cool way to trade. Okay. Our time trader, by the way, we designed this simply because at 8 o'clock in the morning, oil opens, and yet a lot of people that are in the Midwest, to give an example, are trading. And your Eastern people, they're trading. Now, there's some good trades also at 6 a.m. Central Time. There's good trades at 5 a.m. Central Time, and I don't normally get up any earlier than that. And there's some good trades overnight, don't get me wrong on that. But, you know, you can definitely get some better trades, though, even at the open of the market, like oil opens, to give an example. Gold moves, YM moves, Russell moves, gold. You know, it's just constant with the way they do it. Let's see if we can tell where this is going just real quick. Yeah, right here. Look to the left, trade the right. You'd want to protect some coin there, but we've got two left, so we'd probably want to go ahead and protect some coin right there at the bottom. A couple of ticks up just to make sure. Okay, and then we'd ride a runner. Now, I like to look to the left to trade the right at all times, and when I see a consolidation bunch like this, and I've got a high here and a low here and no higher highs, I don't consider this to be my low. Everybody knows that because I've taught this for a long time. So where is your low on this chart? Viper traders, you know. And what would be a higher low if it doesn't take it out? Because see, you've always got to look at, you know, where they get these larger moves, okay? When you can get these down moves like you get these red bars and everything, that's usually your deeper retracements, which means that you can check to the left and see where your swings are. And see, I see this as a swing right here also. So you have a high, a low, and then it basically started stair-stepping up. Okay, never took out the highs. This is your low at that time. So then if you look to the left to trade the right, this is your next low down. So if this does happen to get anything above that, it's going to head up again. That's exactly how I nailed that trade on oil today, and was up 200 ticks, by the way. Okay, let's see what we got here. We're still heading down so far. Can we protect our coin though? Absolutely. See, we've got two on right now. So for instance, if it was to go above that line right here by a couple of ticks, let's just do a wedge instead, see wedge, and we'll do long if it happens to go above that, and we'll just ride the thing instead. So in other words, if it touches 2 ticks above that line, it would go ahead and get it, but it got our target instead, so we're good. Turned out, by the way, to be a very, very decent trade for our traders. And you know, if you don't have time trader set, or you don't have a region set or something like that, you're going to miss a good trade like this. There's no question about that. Okay. It looks like it got a little higher, and I would probably, matter of fact, we did actually do a little trend line in the room this morning. With that being a higher low than that, could you assume that this is going to head up with oil instead of down? And it actually did, but we didn't take this trade right here, but you certainly could have, because I did. We talked about it in the room this morning. But the way we did take it is we put our stop right across here, and if it broke this area right here, like so, we took a long. So we just simply waited for that to break. We took our long. See, it broke our little swing right there. And then we got a nice little popper long trade. And we put our stop underneath our little swing area. Okay, so let me ask you a quick question. Now that we've gotten this trade right here, if you were trading this and you missed the thrust, what's our rule of thumb, Viper traders? We have to have what we call what? A retrace, right? Now, you know I like to kind of get out on power meter 1s and 2s a lot of times. So if you have 1 left, just simply turn on power meter 1, short, and if this turns red, it'll get you out of the trade. Okay, now you probably don't want to reverse it then, simply because, well, let's face it, a lot of times they're just going to barely take you out, come down and kiss an area of support and then take off again too. But I like to protect coin. I don't like to trade oil and go from this area up here or even higher down to mid-band. I just don't like to do that. Because if you traded, for instance, and I'm going to show you before we shut this webinar down tonight, if you traded that oil that I called at 37 today and you let it retrace from highs to lows, yeah, definitely you could have hung on to it all day. But who lets a trade pull back 40 ticks? You got to get out and back in. Or if you want to run a runner, you could. But I mean, if you're talking about like running 3 contracts, you don't want to go from, you know, the top of this phantom, which is 24 ticks to the mid-band, 3 contracts, that's $720. And you're not going to want to lose that or give it back, even if it's going to go up another 50 ticks. So isn't it best just if it's stair-stepping up, when is it going to quit stair-stepping up? Well, right now, when it takes out that line. If it takes out that line. If it stair-steps again, it may be this line. If it stair-steps again, it may be higher. We don't know yet. Let's just fast forward and see where it does. What's your meter? There you go. Meter just went. And you saved some good money. Now, what are we, Viper traders? Well, you could have shorted that line that I had broken right there. But what do we look for when we're trading in our room each and every day? Well, we look for mid-band trades, so we would simply get ready to take this if it does break up. If it comes down, where does everybody think this is going to possibly go? Draw your lines on your charts. Got a little swing right there. That's a phantom. You got a little swing over here to the left. This is like a little sweet spot, in my opinion anyway, looking at Kiss trades for oil. Everybody see that? Now, if it goes lower, that's fine too. You know, we may go lower than that, but we'll see. Let's see if it bounces out of my box. Because I've drawn on my chart, and we draw in real time like this in the room because we know where Kiss trades are. Okay? That's a phantom trade, by the way. This particular trade is about 85% probability of being a good trade, at least to mid-band. Okay? So that's a line 2 trade. I usually put my stop just under line 2 just in case they're not going to go up. Okay? Because line 1 is even better than line 2. Okay? You can also do it this way. You can simply see your thrust retrace, draw a trend line. Take a trade if the wedge gets broken. See your wedge. And if it breaks that wedge, we're going to go long on it. That's price below, so that means it's our T button. We'll teach you all that, by the way, anybody that's here on the invite this week. Keep in mind, you won't learn to trade Viper just in a week that we invite, but we give you some nice webinars and everything else to see so that you can actually see these trades in real time. I don't like close. I use close. I hate close. There, we got it anyway, but I don't use close. Let me show you why. See how that closed on this side of the line and it didn't trigger it? It triggered it. Well, it kind of did because it kind of popped. But I don't like close because you can actually close on this side of the line and then you have to wait for another full bar to close. If you use touch, it's a lot better. Okay? And I personally like the touch feature on it. Okay. Now let's talk about some KISS trades, but let's see what oil does here first. Let's see if we can get a thrust and a retrace. I want to see if everybody learned something so far on KISS trading. Because by the way, in the room this morning, we called this trade. I called this trade this morning in the room on Phantom. So where's your target? Anybody? Well, look to the left to trade the right and draw your lightning threes. You got lightning three right up here. They've already hit it. See? All right, so we'll draw our lightning three again. Just a little higher. They haven't hit that yet, so I'd probably take some profit there just in case. And then you've got another lightning three up here. You got a lightning three up here and here. And just draw your swings, and then always have a runner. Always have a runner. You know, if you can basically leave a runner on your chart at all times, you're going to be a much better trader. But also keep in mind that when they are choppy and everything, you can just simply take 10 ticks. And we show how to do that. These predictors, that's a 10-tick trade. This actually started breaking down. This was at the open, so you wouldn't have done this one. But this little trade here, Phantom, never set up because you didn't get a lightning back to the upside. So it just headed down instead. Let's see what we get here. I'm going to fast forward this just a little bit. Lightning. Everybody see where to put your stop? See where to put your stop? But could you actually do it with our tools instead? See the power meter's green? We just simply say, okay, we got 2 contracts on. We'll turn our power meter on. And we'll simply sell out both contracts if the power meter goes red. Okay? And the power meter only goes red when you get a stair step. Or you break a previous swing. So let's see when it happened. Or if it happened. We're still going to run a runner until we get stopped out. I'd probably put this one up here. Especially at 8:30, because that's the open of the regular market. There you go. See there. Now notice how, we got wedge on. Sorry about that. We need PM. We'll turn PM on instead. We'll have to do it like that. I had wedge on. Yeah, I have wedge selected, Davin says. And we don't want to short that, obviously, which would happen if you happen to have your reverse at stop on. Okay, don't leave that on either. All right, now, we talked about how to get in trades based on KISS trades. Okay, so let's see if anybody can figure out exactly where the next trade is. And I'm going to go ahead and kill the lines. Hopefully we haven't missed it already. I don't think we have. All right, let's look to the left to trade the right. Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. So we got a swing right across here. All right, we've got another swing. Look to the left to trade the right. Right here. Like so. All right. And they haven't checked this yet. They did check this one. See here? This is what I look at when I'm looking at KISS trades, by the way. See where they broke up above resistance, came and kissed it, took off. They haven't kissed this one yet, so this is my little sweet spot for a pullback on oil. And our predictor's saying anywhere around the mid-band, right in here. Let's see if we can get something here real quick. We'll see. Now, I'm not a chaser. By the way, I would have taken that trade also because that's a predictor trade. But keep in mind, if they don't take out this top, you want to get out of the trade fairly quickly if they don't go ahead and take out tops. You know, for instance, if this decides not to go above 61, then you want to get out pretty much if it does decide to roll over. Let's see if we can get this trade. I've got it marked on my chart. By the way, we also called this trade in the room because we know where they're coming. I mean, if you've studied charts as long as we have and taught as long as we have, you'll actually start seeing these lightning swings on your chart. Let me just draw it. Did it check this one? Yes. Did it check this one? No. Okay. So what's it going to do? It's going to come down more than likely and check it. That's what you get. You get thrust, you get retrace. They're going to check these swings. Now, would I go ahead and take this if it doesn't come all the way down to this line? You betcha I would. But it'll have to, well, it'd have to come at least close to mid-band. Keep in mind that your best trade when you're trading long is thrust, retrace at or below mid-band for a long. Okay? And on the short side, at or above mid-band on a short. And you'll find that you'll get some very, very good trades. All right, let's see if we can get this trade. Not going to chase it. We called this trade in the room this morning. We had this box drawn. Let's see. Did you have a question, Lewis? I didn't see it. I apologize. Can you go short or long with time trade? Absolutely. Well, you got to set it up each time, though. Time trader is simply a region that sets up on your chart at a given time. So you do still have to tell it like a region how you want to take the trade. To give an example, I want to take this trade on a region. We're going to set up a region. We're going to simply go down here like this. We're going to go up here like this. See, here's resistance right across here. And we're going to take this trade either way it decides to go. And we'll do touch plus 2. And there you just got your trade. Okay? As soon as it gives us a lightning swing, we're going to set our stop. No lightning swing yet, right? Get your targets out of the way. Get one at resistance or a couple of ticks under. And as soon as you start stair-stepping back up, then you want to set your stop. Okay, right now we're not even stair-stepping up yet. See, our power meter's not even green yet. Will we get a green one now? You got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low. If it closes above, you'll get it. See there? Now where would you put your stop? Anybody? How about right there? Exit on close. See how easy that is? And I'm not saying it's easy until you actually learn it. But keep in mind that once you do learn it, it's pretty powerful. It's just a pretty powerful way to trade. You'll be surprised totally how easily you can get some really good trades like this by simply drawing on your charts and getting these KISS trades. And I'd get my runner out of the way. I'd turn on my power meter short to get out of the trade if they happen to go short on my power meter. And I just did. Everybody see that? How easy that was? Kind of shotgunned up, but where did it break? Well, look at that. It's another trade, by the way. See it? I'm going to go ahead and take that because it kissed right where I wanted it to. It technically did here, but it just barely missed it by a tick. Okay? Now, keep in mind, again, that your best trades are at mid-band or below on a long. Okay? But as a rule, they're going to kiss these areas that you draw on your charts. Now, when they oscillate around mid-band and they go deeper, you're going to have to be careful because they can go ahead and break down. Let's see if this one works out. I'm going to put my stop a little tighter as soon as this goes above this swing right here. That's good enough for me. See why I did that? Now, this needs to close for this to be accurate. See if this closes. Not yet. Yeah, that's good enough. See how this is now stair-stepping? You got a low, you have a high, you have a higher low, you have a higher high, you have a higher low, you have a higher high. Even on your micro trend, you can see your higher lows and higher highs. Okay? Now, does anybody remember in the room this morning? And by the way, if you took this trade, you don't have to, for instance, if this goes up to this top and starts rolling back, I'm going to take it off the deal because I'm not going all the way to mid-band. See, now right now, I'd have to take this out to lose my trade. Everybody see that? Now I'd have to take this out. There you go. You just got taken out flat. Now, why did I do that way? Because what is it doing? It was stair-stepping up. It's no longer stair-stepping up when it starts stair-stepping down. Do I have to go to mid-band to do that? Now with this double top right here, and I called this in the room live this morning, I said, we're double topping on oil. So everyone that's been with us knows that that's not your low. Okay? Where's your low on this chart? Anybody? High, low, higher high. This is your established low. Now, does that mean you couldn't take a short on this? Absolutely. If you go below mid-band and you get like that, for instance, and you want to go ahead and sell it, I guess I didn't sell it. But anyway, if you would have done that, I'm going to go ahead and do it still. It's below mid-band. And I'll put my stop right there. Okay. And of course, you'd remember I even said in the room this morning, what you're looking at anytime they break micro, okay, they'll go down and check medium swings. If they break medium swings, they're going to go down and check larger swings. And if you get a higher low again, they're going to head back up. We see that time and time again. You know, put some of those ideas in your mind and you'll be surprised how easily you can trade these things. Because this was at 932-ish and people were short on this trade. By the way, you put your stop just above there. That's your lightning swing. Or turn on your power meter. Simple, right? You don't know where it's going. It may break down below this. Go ahead and have a target. If you get a green, you're out. That's fine. I'm okay with that. Did it go down further? I'm pretty sure it did, but I took mine out on the green power meter because you could have easily bounced on your phantom. Okay, now let's watch and see how I actually called this trade in the room this morning. Because everybody that was in the room this morning heard this trade call that was made. If we don't take out this low at 35, we're going to head back up. Anybody remember that? Now, how could you take that trade? Power meter. Could you take it with power meter? If it closes above that swing, it'll go green. Not yet. Didn't close. See, it closed right at it. Now it would have to take out this one right here. Power meter going to get us green? We'll see. There you go. You just got your green. Now, where did I call this trade? Anybody remember? I called it right on the money at looking for 35. We actually talked about 37 when it bounced. Does anybody remember where this trade actually went after we closed the room down? I want to show you how to stay in a trade if you want to really stay in a trade for a gusto type trade, and it's done exactly the same way we just taught just a little bit ago, except you're going to use a little bit more of a like a lightning 2 type swing or something like that. Okay, see it stair stepping so far, still stair stepping. I'm going to put my stop out of the way for a minute. I want to just show you the stair stepping bit. Green background. Identified swing to the left. Secondary swing right here. Let's draw a line there just so you see it in real time. That's your secondary swing. See if it holds. Secondary swings as a rule hold. High or low. Could you, as far as that goes, if you were trading this in real time with your real money, could you actually get ready to very possibly take like a mid-band trade? We also called a trade like this. See where this little box is? We teach this trade all the time. This is called a mid-band box. So you just got 4. Where would your stop be if you were in 4 total like this? We'd have to put it underneath the swing, wouldn't you? And by the way, This was actually also a phantom trade. We teach this particular trade. So even though you were long from way down here, at least should have been, that's where we drew the box this morning. I did it on the power meter, which is late. But if you did this phantom trade right here, you got more than 10 ticks too. Our people trade this particular trade literally all the time right here. Let me just show it to you. That's a phantom trade, and that's a phantom trade. Phantom trade short is when the midband is a short color. Phantom trade long is when the midband's a long color. And that particular trade works like clockwork, and so does that one right there. And if you saw this right here, you see that that's a short to midband. Even though we were already long, because phantoms are deep retracements, we were already long. But you can trade a phantom trade and do quite well. What I recommend doing on a phantom trade, if you happen to be long on one chart, you want to go ahead and do a second chart. Let's see, can you do this short and long using another category, an object trader? You can, Lewis. What you can actually do, you want to try one? Let's see if we can get a kiss trade. Let's just take this off the table for just a minute. I'm going to see if we can get a thrust above here and a kiss of it, and see if we can take a trade. You can take a market order, for instance. Now, if it breaks above here, you could go ahead and take the trade too, because that's like boxing it in. But let's say, for instance, that you don't have a red power meter, so you can't take a power meter trade. What other trade can you take, Lewis? We got another trade on here called stealth. Now, it's a little later than I like. Well, let's turn on a stealth and see if we can get a stealth. So far, let me get rid of these lines just for a moment. We've got a bunch of them. All right, we have a red stealth here, a green stealth here. So if we get a green stealth, we would fire a trade. All right, I would already be in that trade, by the way, because I saw a higher low, but that's fine too. Let's see if we get a stealth. Now, if this turns red, I'm going to turn on power meter or watch what would be power meter to me, and I can take it manually. Did quite a bit of chopping around, even right after we closed the room. See how it just held support again? Watch and see if stealth doesn't grab a trade. Now, like I say, it's going to be late, see, because it's literally going to be more of a breakout trade. So if you took the stealth trade, where would you have to put your stop? You'd have to put your stop underneath the swing, like so. And even though that's 18 ticks, that's below the swing. That's more of a breakout trade. I don't really like breakout type trades. I would rather have a trade thrust up and pull back and kiss than to take a breakout trade. Do they always do that? Not necessarily. Now, we have another criteria for a long that you can go by. If they go below line 6 and stealth, you can take it. But keep in mind, when they decide to run them, they don't necessarily do that. See, line 6 is right here, and stealth is right here. Now, for a minimum criteria trade, it would have to close below stealth. And this thing just didn't do it for quite some time, because I traded this after the room closed. And before the room closed, because I called this trade way down here. And it did a beautiful trade. And some of our people stayed in it. Well, Parmesan said he stayed in it literally all day. I mean, if you get a trade way down in here, could you hold on to it even with 40 tick pullbacks? Absolutely you could. But keep in mind, you're going to be watching $400 disappear too. And that's kind of hard to watch. But if you had actually held on to this trade literally all day, does anybody remember where oil went? It went all the way above 75. And by the way, I even did a trend line in the room this morning. Anybody remember it? We drew it quite a bit earlier. Anybody remember it? Anybody remember that trend line? I'll just fast forward this and show you what oil did after we closed the room. I'm going to just get my stop out of the way for a minute because I know what it did. I traded it. But You can stay in this trade literally based on these swings. See how these swings are still heading up, still heading up? Just trust your swings. Trust your secondary one. See, there's a swing. There's your secondary. There's a swing. There's your secondary way down here. There's a swing. There's another swing setting up. There's another swing setting up. See how that works? I mean, could you stay in a trade like this literally all day until it decided to take it out? And the answer is yes, until it decides to take the stair-stepping motion back to the downside. How many of you traded this and literally got that kind of a move? And like I say, it's really hard to do this. Let me show you something here. It's really hard to do this when you hit 74.89 and you had like 2 contracts on and you go all the way back to 74.60. Because what is 74.89 to 74.60? It's 29 ticks, right? 67 to 89 is 22 ticks. But from here to here is 24 ticks. I don't personally like that kind of pullbacks. And if you were looking at this in real time, where do you think more than likely oil is going to pull back into? Anybody? See the thrust retrace? What's this? I'll bet it does it. So far, just a little phantom trade. Just bounced off a line 2. That's a line 2 phantom trade. Boy, you got to get to where you trust this trade right here. Could you put your stop right there? I mean, granted, there's no question about it. You'd be giving up a bunch. Put your stop there now. Everybody see that? Still stop here. Now it could be, not yet. Now it could be here. So if you draw on your charts, where would you get out of this trade? Let me just draw lightning 2 and I'll show you. I've got lightning 2 in green. Green's kind of hard to see. I'm going to take, no, I can't do that. I'll just draw it in green. That's fine. Let's draw it on the blank chart from 73.63. Let me just draw it on this chart. From 73.63. $59 even, let's see here. So you had a low, high, higher low. Not a higher high, but notice how that held. Still, you would have had your stop. Well, just look at it. You can see. And then it busts up above, so you can put your stop. Normally, I look at my primary stop because these will get taken out a lot of times. Watch and draw on your chart. And if they don't, then you're good to go. See, that can now be your stop. And of course, if you go up that much, this could be your stop. See, that's like even a secondary, because this is more than likely pulling down some now, and that's fine. Does anybody stay with a trade like that? Like Parmajit did, for instance, where he knows and he remembers that I called this trade all the way down here this morning. So if you had your price in at your broker at well, let's say you even did 73.50. I don't care. Let's say that you dipped the toe in one and then added and so on, or you waited for the thrust to pull back into KISS area. See that? That little KISS area. And you added. That's what KISS trading is all about. Can you see where this breaks up above like a resistance area? What does it do? It comes and kisses it. It breaks above a resistance area. What does it do? It comes and kisses it. See that kiss? If they don't come and kiss it, then they're really heading up. See how this hadn't even kissed that swing yet? Will it kiss it? I doubt it. because it literally is on a tear. So then you look, if it thrusts up again, you draw a line on your resistance. Did it kiss it? Close. All right, let's see if it kissed it again. Above, pulls back right into a kiss area. See it right there on top of that swing? They're just constantly doing this. They just constantly do this. But could you see how easily you could draw trend lines, get out of the trade, get back in, like on a trend line break back to the upside. And, that was a monster trade. And I ran this all the way to the end of our session because you can clearly see that they did start stepping down. But I'll bet you that this was a phantom. You want to see if it was? It is. See it right there? That's a phantom trade. So if a person got in at line 1, you're already up a few ticks. Even if you had not traded any of this all day, that's a phantom trade after a big ratchet up. Let's see, how about a stop at a priori? Well, Lewis, on your question now, you can use Lightning 3, but keep in mind, let me show you. Let's draw it from where I called the trade this morning. We called it right here, right? Let's go ahead and draw Lightning 3. All right. So if you used Lightning 3, keep in mind you're going to pull back quite a bit. So we got in here. Lightning 3 was here, then here, then here. So keep drawing your line. That's your lightning swing. Didn't take it out. Now here's your lightning swing right here. Now here's your lightning swing. Now here's your lightning swing. And that's where you're at right now. Yeah, if you use Lightning 3, keep in mind, though, that you're going to watch your P&L oscillate quite a bit, because if you got him way down here and held it all day, yeah, in hindsight, you'd be up over 200 ticks. But to hold on that kind of pullbacks is pretty hard to do. But it's sometimes easier than getting in and out. Because as long as you're stair-stepping, and keep in mind that's trend 3, your Lightning 3. And as you can see here, where is support on this chart? Well, it's right here. Will they come down and check that before they bounce again? Very possibly. But is this a downtrend yet? Nope, not until it takes this out. Does it mean we couldn't short this at mid-band and have gotten that? We could still do that too. But I don't normally go against the trend too much except at opens, because that's still an uptrend in my personal opinion, and that's pretty hard to trade short. Does anybody have any final questions before we wrap? I ran a little bit late. I think I got all the questions. You could actually, by the way, Lewis, you can actually set Lightning as your stop. Your stop that's right here is Lightning. You can actually set this for a swing strength of 15 instead, and you'll get that exact stop. But keep in mind, it'll also do it on this side too, though. If it does happen to draw Lightning, like maybe right here, if it breaks it, it'll also stop you out. It doesn't necessarily look on the left only, it looks on the right also. Okay? So you would have probably even stopped out, because this did so many bars and everything. You had a green, a green, and a green, so it wouldn't have stopped you out yet. It'd have to break a yellow. See, that's yellow. Now, will this turn yellow? Possibly. Another way you can do this too, keep in mind, as long as you're actually staying in this channel from line 0 to line 8, you can actually stay in a trade. I mean, look at this. This went literally all day after it broke up, and you finally changed trends and everything. This never took out your phantom. But can you take that from 77 all the way down to 34? That's a 40-tick pullback. Even one contract, that's $400. But keep in mind, if you had held it all day, like Parmajet talked about, you would have gotten in at 30, well, say even 42 or even 50, and you're still in it. Now, maybe he probably got out naturally when the market closed and everything, so he's probably out somewhere in this area here, more than likely. But yeah, that's a killer trade. Okay, let's see if I missed anybody. Did anybody have any final questions before we wrap? All right. By the way, one thing, just real quick before we leave, just to let everybody know that's kind of in here for the week, kicking the tires. We do that about every few weeks. There's a lot of this language that you're not going to understand as much right off the bat. But believe me, we've got these particular trades that we teach. This phantom trade, to give an example, is a killer trade. Our mid-band trades are very, very good, especially when they come down on support areas. And if you draw on your charts, you're going to see these support areas. Where will oil more than likely come down and very possibly even bounce and turn my background red and everything? But we may get a bounce right here. We'll be watching for it. I'm not trading overnight, so it'll probably happen anyway. Okay? But if you're not familiar with the way we do, be sure and look at our webinars that are on our website, and I'll even get this one posted tonight. Okay? Thanks everybody for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. Kiss trading is really truly what it is all about, because this isn't hype and anything like that. This trade was called because we had a line drawn on our chart, and I said live in the room that if we get a higher low than that, we weren't heading down. And it happened exactly like I said. Now, what if instead of this doing what it did, it would have broken 36, 35? Well, guess what? You'd simply take a kiss trade. Break, pull back and kiss, and more than likely a rollover. And usually, if they barely break and they just barely kiss, you're usually good to go. Now, if they just break like this, say something like this, and then go back up, they're more than likely going to check where they've been and then roll over. So you got to be careful with that too. Anytime they break support, don't let them go back above support too much. If you're going to take a trade, if you were looking at this in real time and you were short already, right? Well, you had a pretty good trade to begin with, but I called it out in the room and said this was going to bounce. And that's what you got when it did. So we try to get them. All right, everyone, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And just be sure and keep up with the webinars, because we do this each and every day. All right. Good night, everyone.